Hello and welcome back to the block 6 of my Beautiful Things quilt along. This week is the week that we're going to finish up the last block and we're going to put all of the blocks together. And then in subsequent weeks we're going to be doing our finishing blocks and the backing and things like that. So I have gone ahead and I have cut my background down to, I did a 26-inch by width of fabric cut, and then I trimmed it down to 37 inches and ironed it out. So this is going to be the background for my block 6, and then I have pre-cut out all of these applique using the pre-printed templates from FlexiFuse. If you did not order the pre-printed templates for the quilt, you will need to tape the pages together of the templates so that you can trace these, because you can see I have one big piece here. If you are just using the free pattern that you're downloading from my blog, you will be taping these pieces together and then tracing them onto your fusible. If you don't want to trace, I would highly recommend going over and ordering the pre-printed templates from them, because they just sent me the roll of FlexiFuse and I'm just cutting all of these pieces out after I've ironed them down to the fabrics that I want. So that's going to be super nice. So I have my Pearl Shimmer from Andover Fabrics from their Rainbow Shimmer line. Caribbean Shimmer, this is not actually, I substituted this fabric. This is not the Caribbean Shimmer from Andover Fabrics. And then I have my Noir Shimmer lettering at a time. And those are all of the pieces that I'm going to need for this block. So this block is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to start by peeling all of these pieces, the fusible backing off of them. And then I'm going to center these on my background fabric and position them in place, and then I'll iron everything down. And then I will be appliquing down with my RFL 50 weight thread. And again, like I've talked about in previous blocks, I prefer a buttonhole or blanket stitch for appliquing these pieces down. And on my blog, I will show you guys what colors of the RFL thread I'm using. But I don't remember what I was going to say to you. I'm lost. The mom brain is real. Guys, the other day I was trying to assemble furniture, and at the same time I was trying to pop a handful of popcorn in my mouth that I had made because I had just put my baby to sleep. And I popped the handful of screws into my mouth. Yep. So the mom brain is real. I was feeling really special at that moment. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, like I just said, I'm going to iron these pieces in place over on my ironing board. I don't have a layout guide for this block, just because what you can do, I'm going to show that here. Sorry, I'm not showing you my face or my hands. I'm going to use this ruler, and I am just going to make sure that I have the same amount on both sides. So I'm going to make sure that I have the same amount of white space on my right side and my left side. And then I'm going to make sure I have the same amount of white space on my top and bottom of the block. So that amount is going to be about 5 3/4. Let's see. 6 inches on the right and the left. Like just over 6 inches, okay? And then on the top and the bottom, it's going to be I have this way off. So I'm going to pull this up. Okay, so on the top and bottom, it's going to be about 5 inches. Okay, so I have that about centered. And then I'm going to place this piece down on top of it. So again, with the ironing, hot, dry iron, so your linen cotton setting, I like to go for 10 or 15 seconds because I usually actually count faster than is actually right. And then I will take this over and applique it down with my blanket stitch, and I'll probably use a straight stitch on my applique black lettering because the pieces are small and fine. They're not super tiny, they're workable, but it will go faster because there's a lot of surface area on that lettering. Okay, one thing I wanted to note on here is that when you cut this teal piece out of the Caribbean shimmer, a problem that you might run into, like I did, is that all of this is on the bias. And so it has a tendency to stretch, and you're trying to align it with all of the corners of your pearl shimmer piece right here. And so what I would recommend doing on that is that you find your corners and you just tack your corner down with your iron just a little bit, and tack each corner down just barely with the iron so that it fits right at that point. And then you can kind of start to evenly space it out so that it doesn't stretch in between, but so that it covers up this piece of the pearl shimmer without getting any folds in the Caribbean shimmer bias piece. So I went ahead and did that already over on my ironing board, and then I tacked down the center of some of these bigger pieces too, so that I can evenly distribute some of that that extra like give in it over the course of the piece, so that I don't end up with any little tiny folds when I go to try to iron it down. So I'm going to go ahead and iron down all of the lettering, and then I'll show you guys what that looks like before I head over to my sewing machine. Okay, so I have ironed down all of my pieces here, and now I'm going to go take it over to the machine. But first I wanted to show you guys, when I was ironing these down, I wanted to make sure that my applique was mostly straight across, and so I just put a ruler down as kind of a baseline. And you can see, I mean, because it's calligraphy script, it kind of varies as to where it touches down. But I mostly got it straight to where I felt like it was like the same distance across, and then the same distance from the edge. So that's how I centered it, and then I ironed down all of the edges once I had tacked down the middle. And because it is the bias, like, it will bubble up a little bit right here, and then it kind of sent me into a little bit of a panic, like, will I be able to get that down without it folding? But if you just tack down the spots where you know that you want it to be at, so in all of the corners, and then like the center, which is going to be the piece that sticks out the farthest, then if you ensure that those are all in the right place, when you iron it down, it will suck the applique down to where you want it, kind of. And even if it looks like it's going to bubble, because it's on the bias, it will iron down. So I'm going to go take this over to my machine. Okay, so the final step for block 6 before we start adding all of the other blocks to it, is going to just be trimming the applique block down. So it needs to be 25.5 by 35.75. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that. I already adhered all of my applique down with stitches, and this pearl shimmer, there was a slight overlap of the Caribbean shimmer over top of this, but I went ahead and also buttonhole stitched the inside of this down just because I felt like it would hold up better. Like if I wash it or something, it won't come undone. And then I just did a straight stitch down on all of my lettering. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this up, and then I will show you guys the final steps of what you're going to be doing. After you get this trimmed, you're going to take your block 5 and you're just going to use a 1/4 inch seam and attach it so that block 5 is sitting on top of block 6 like this. And then this block 5 and 6 unit, you will be attaching to your blocks 3 and 4 unit. So your blocks 3 and 4 unit, which already should be stitched together, are going to be attached to the left, and I should be showing you guys this on the design board, but they should be attached to the left like this of your 5 and 6 unit. Okay, so once you have blocks 3, 4, 5, and 6 all attached together, at that point you will be stitching your block 1 and 2 unit, which is behind me, except I am a really bad example, you guys, and I don't actually have my block 2 100% done. So I'm a total hypocrite. It's fine, but I'm the one giving out the prizes. So and so then you're going to attach your block 1 and 2 unit to the rest of the bottom of your quilt. At that point, you have a couple of applique pieces, your stamp pieces, the bottom stamp piece that you never added to your block 2. And the reason that you didn't add that is because it's going to go right over the top of that seam once you add your whole quilt together. Now, that is going to pose some challenges because you're going to be trying to fit your entire quilt top under your machine to stitch it down with your buttonhole stitch. But it's only one piece, so we can do it. I am going to show you guys the finished quilt in 2 weeks on January 5th when we go to attach our borders, the Allison Glass Kaleidoscope plaid. I'm really excited to attach that on and see how it just makes the whole quilt pop. And once we do that, you'll see the whole quilt, and I do have some surprise prizes, and you will have until the end of January to finish your quilt out. And so I'll have some prizes to go along with that, but go ahead and finish your block 6 and get your whole quilt attached by January 5th, minus the borders, so that you can qualify for the next giveaway. So I'll be dropping details of that on Instagram, so go ahead and follow me. It's at Maddie, MADI_Hastings. And I'll be sending out details on that. But drop comments in the section below if you guys have any questions. And we'll see you next week, or in 2 weeks, I guess. Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate. And can't wait to see you back. Thanks, guys.